Hello again, Bruno.
Yes.
We're here on euROBIN Week 2023 and we are talking about robotics and artificial intelligence.
Yes.
And all that the new era has taught us. So what are your thoughts about this mixing of physical, mechanical force and data?
Yes, I mean, it's like the AI has been developing with a very steep gradient in the last 1 or 2 decades because of two things. One is the availability of big data, the cloud data, and the other thing is the possibility of developing the so-called Internet of Things, with data which can be communicated and transported and used everywhere in the world. During the pandemic, we made one step further because all the common people were able to achieve smart working, and we would have access to our virtual office, and everybody was connected. We had the calls, and we kept, the work doing. Just like this was fun. This was fine, but unfortunately, because of the impossibility of the people to travel or the people to have access to safe environment. I'm speaking about sort of sanitized environment, just where you don't get the contagious. Okay, so because of this, we were not able to achieve the physical smart working. So the production, manufacturing was shut down, and there were a lot of fields where the physical actions could not happen because we didn't have a fast enough network. So what can we gain from the technology? Now we have the 5G technology. The 5G technology is very useful for all the mobile devices, and of course we will go faster. We'll have a broader band, and we think that we can live better because we can do more things in a kind of shorter time. But for the development of the technology, I think the most important challenge of 5G technology is the latency, is the fact to have a constant latency. The latency is the delay in communication. It's like, for instance, when you want to command an action on the International Space Station. Why is it possible? Because you can compute and you can compensate for the delay. Now, if we have a sort of environment where everyone is connected, depending on the overload of network, sometimes it goes down. So with 5G, with customized networks, like it is already with 5G, and the next challenge will be 6G, we will have the possibility of having a constant latency. And if the latency, if the delay is constant, can be compensated, only then it will be possible to achieve, to perform a physical action remotely with a sort of tactile internet perception. So this is something which, for instance, we exchange videos, photos in a sort of objective fashion, because we have, for instance, a high-resolution photo, high-resolution video, and the video and photo can be interpreted by anyone. It's not the same thing for the tactile perception, because the tactile perception is a sort of dynamic emotion, and it's much more difficult to be codified, and it's also difficult to be transmitted remotely. So we're living this sort of transit evolution from what I used to say, from the Internet of Things to the Internet of Skills. And if we speak about the skills, the human comes into play. So the skills is that of you as a human, which should be different from my skill. So it's not like that we take an objective picture, an objective video. So it's a sort of personal, customizable experience. And this is happening because of the transition from information communication technology to the interaction technology. And in this context, the AI is part of robotics, the so-called physical intelligence. The intelligent machines are playing a relevant role. The dream is that in the same way as today, for instance, we have now, I am a professor, and I have in class the millennials. So the kids that were born in the new millennium. So those are kids that they were educated with this kind of intuitive technology. I give an example. In the surgery, robotics is used as a technology to enhance the capability of the surgeon to see the operating room in high definition with a stereo vision and a 3D feeling of immersion. So the surgeon can execute the operation, the surgery more accurately, and this is better for the patient and also is better because it's reducing the recovery time of the patient. Okay? Now, the challenge, what is the challenge? The challenge is to enhance the perception of the surgeon also with the tactile perception, which is not yet in a commercial system. And why is this so important now? Because the surgeon who are operating with the robotic assisted device, with the Da Vinci system, which is the platform available in every hospital for robotic surgery, they were used to operate in open surgery or with the laparoscopic tool. So they bring into the skills all the previous experience of having been a surgeon operating with hands or with the tool. The millennials, they don't have this experience because the millennials have always interacted with this kind of soft touch technology. So that's why it's so important to prepare the next evolution to allow the future surgeon in this case, but this can be applied to different fields with the physical ability. But you must have a sort of reliable communication channel as 5G and 6G can support, and also with the capability of developing more and more intelligent machines. And a project like euROBIN and other initiatives in Europe are making this happen. The new robotic systems are systems which have two features. One is like to intelligently and autonomously interact with the environment, and the other feature is that they should be employed even by the unexperienced people. You don't need, if you get to the wheel of the car, you don't read the instructor manual. You have a driver's license, switch on the car, maybe you notice whether it's kind of manual shift or automatic shift, and then you go. So this is what is our dream as researcher and as visionaries for the next 2 decades.
Okay, so what you're talking about is instead of the human to be a consumer and a prosumer taking each role, it will be both at the time.
Exactly. Of course, I am a sort of techno-optimist. You realize, you cannot
a dreamer.
All the sort of tiling work, all the sort of precision work will be done by an autonomous machine, and in this way, we will have more time to express the least artificial feature of our intelligence, which is the humanity. So this is perhaps my dream. I'm 63, and I like dreaming that I can live this time. If I won't live, at least the next generations that they will live. So this is a sort of just dreaming about having some technology which will allow the human to live better, to avoid risks like dangers, like for instance in dangerous or frustrating jobs we need like robots, like for inspecting infrastructure, for inspecting plants, and more or less we will have more time to take decisions. At the end of the day, any technology should be human-centric, because the responsibility is always be with the human. Even with ChatGPT, even with artificial intelligence. If you have a book written by ChatGPT, who has the intellectual property right? It's the author that has asked the questions or has typed, just as the query with ChatGPT. So in order to keep the human-centric role, we must be able to develop a technology which is supporting the human. So the technology will be an aid. So now we live in the internet and our life has become better. But then in internet, you can find everything and nothing, because is the information on internet always reliable? No, it's not. There is a lot of fake. And it's also the wrong use of technology. So that's why when we want to develop this technology, we should develop in a sort of human-centric perspective.
So we were talking about being a dreamer, maybe forced workers centuries ago dreamed with steam propulsed machines. And we are now not dreaming but creating robotics. Do you think that the implementation of robotics in not only industrial way but also in a daily task way is the new revolution?
Yeah, I think so. I think this will be the new revolution. I mean, just is like as Aline was saying earlier, like cobots was a sort of icon of Industry 4.0, which is like a big European program, which is the digitization of the industry, and it's the development of the so-called cyber physical systems. So this is Industry 4.0 and the cobots, right? But now we're already in the fifth generation, and it's not surprising that this goes along with the communication technology, because I mean, internet is so powerful because of the communication capability. So we will depend on the development of communication and supporting networks, because that's the only way. So, for instance, during the COVID, the hospitals were suffering because of many in the hospital, but also, I mean, just something which was not really evidenced in the media was the fact that the training of the surgeons was slowed down, was shut down, and that's even more important. So it's not only the contingency of the 1 year of the 2 years of the pandemic that all the other specialties had to be, just set apart because of the urgency. It's also the training of the surgeon, the training of the specialist. So it's the possibility of remotizing the medicine and some medical services. So that's and lucky enough, we learned the lesson. So now we have a technology available that in case of a new pandemic or in case of a new emergency, we can do more than just the smart working and just the remote operation, because we will be able to develop like human skills through the machines. So this is my dream, and also it's also my mission as a researcher to make it happen.
Well, we are already training little kids. I mean, a lot of little kids here in Spain already have robotics class as extra after school.
Yes.
Something they offer like football and plastics, and they have already robotics.
Yeah,
which was a dream 10 years ago. I would say.
Absolutely. For instance, this was discussed this morning during the General Assembly. There is an event which takes place in several cities around the world. And the largest European event is the Maker Fair. Maker Fair is an event where the makers are those hobbies that they develop they make some invention, some kind of technology. Okay, so why is this so important? Because the makers, they don't have to have a university degree. Some of the makers are teenagers. Some of the makers are kids, because they develop maybe an app or they develop some kind of idea. So this is happening, and we must find a way to really just exploit this enormous potential. So why is robotics attracting so much school kids? Because you see a system moving and you understand the feedback principle. You understand what it means to have a sensor. You understand what it means maybe to have a sort of motor which is realizing some motion. So, of course, we study and we go into the technical details at university level, but it's important that this starts from the high school and even from the middle school. Personally, I go to a number of schools in my region, in my territory, just to give sort of dissemination talks, because I very much believe I think it's out, since we are at the forefront of research and technology. Apart from our own labs, I think also we have the duty of just telling the people that we should invest in this direction. And it's important that we involve the families, the public, and the kids in school, and all the society at large.